Well, hello there, beautiful family and friends, and welcome back to another episode of Meaningful Moments with May. This is a space where we get to realign, recalibrate, and reconnect with what truly matters so you can create a life that feels more meaningful, more intentional, and more aligned with who you truly are. And I'm your host, Mai Calev, and I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me today. Today's episode marks the beginning of a brand new series called the Invisible Influence Series. Over the past several episodes, we've explored self doubt, self trust, authenticity, self acceptance, and the courage to be seen. And if you've been listening along, you may have noticed a common thread. Everything we've talked about begins on the inside. Our thoughts, our emotions, our beliefs, our experiences, and our inner world. So today I'd like to take that conversation one step deeper. We're going to explore something we all experience yet often struggle to explain. We're talking about the energy we carry. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt tension? Have you ever met someone who felt calm and grounding before they ever spoke a word? Or maybe you've left a conversation feeling completely exhausted and couldn't quite explain why. Most of us have experienced moments like these. The question is, what are we actually sensing? Let's explore that together. So, what do I mean by the energy we carry? So, before we go any further, I want to keep this conversation grounded. When I talk about energy, I'm not asking you to adopt any particular belief system. I'm simply inviting you to notice what you've probably already experienced. Think about it. You can feel excitement. You can feel fear. You can feel joy. You can feel grief. And you can sense when someone is upset. And you can sense when someone feels safe. You can sense when an environment feels peaceful or when it feels chaotic. These experiences may not always be visible, but they're real. So, for today's conversation, let's think of energy as the emotional, mental, and spiritual atmosphere we carry within us and bring into the spaces around us. Because whether you realize it or not, your inner world is always communicating. Your inner world is always speaking. Imagine someone who's carrying a great deal of stress. They may smile. They may tell everyone they're fine. They may continue showing up and doing all the things. But often, you can still feel that something is off. Not because they told you, but because energy communicates. The same is true for peace. The same is true for joy. The same is true for confidence. The same is true for resentment. Our inner world is constantly expressing itself. And the more disconnected we become from our inner world, the more likely we are to miss the messages it's trying to send. One of the reasons I believe self-awareness is so important is that awareness helps us recognize that what we're carrying long before it begins influencing every area of our lives. And you can use this energy as information. One of the most helpful shifts I ever made was learning to stop labeling emotions and energy as good or bad. Instead, I began seeing them as information. Fear is information. Stress is information. Joy is information. Peace is information. Even discomfort can be information. Our emotions are messengers. Our energy is constantly giving us clues about what needs attention. When we ignore those messages, they tend to get louder. Sometimes they show up as exhaustion. Sometimes they show up as irritability. Sometimes as overwhelm. Sometimes as anxiety. And sometimes as physical illness. The question isn't, how do I get rid of this feeling? The question is, what is this feeling trying to tell me? So let's talk about what drains our energy. Many of us experience, without realizing, energy drains. Some of the biggest drains on our energy aren't physical, they're emotional. Things like constant self-criticism, people-pleasing, unresolved resentment, worry, perfectionism, fear of judgment, suppressing emotions, ignoring our needs. Sound familiar? Many people believe they're tired because they're doing too much. Sometimes they're tired because they're carrying too much. There's a difference. When we carry emotional weight that was never meant to stay inside us, it impacts our energy and our physical body. Now let's talk about what nourishes our energy. Just as some things drain us, other things restore us. Think about moments when you feel most like yourself. Perhaps it's being in nature, spending time with people you love, creating something meaningful, dancing, praying, meditating, laughing, being fully present. Notice how different your energy feels in those moments. Alignment nourishes energy. Authenticity nourishes energy. Self-acceptance nourishes energy. And connection nourishes energy. This is why the work we've been doing together through these episodes matters so much. Everything we've explored so far supports our energetic well-being. How do you become an observer of your energy? What if instead of judging your energy, you became curious about it? What if you started asking, how do I feel right now? What am I carrying? What belongs to me? What doesn't? What gives me energy? What drains it? The goal isn't to become perfect. The goal is simply awareness, because awareness creates choice, and choice creates transformation. So let's take a moment for reflection. Let's take a deep, grounding breath together for a moment, breathing in through your nose and exhaling slowly through your mouth like you're exhaling out of a straw. And if you're comfortable doing so, just place a hand on your heart if it feels comfortable, and you can use either hand or both hands, it doesn't matter. Now ask yourself, what energy have I been carrying lately? What emotions have I been ignoring? Where do I feel most alive? What brings me back to myself? What is my inner world trying to communicate to me today? There's no right or wrong answer here. Just listen, notice, become curious. As we come to a close on this episode today, I want to leave you with this thought. Your energy is not separate from you. It's an expression of your inner experience. And when you learn to care for your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and needs, your energy naturally begins to shift. Not because you're forcing it, not because you're fixing yourself, but because you're listening. And listening is one of the most loving things we can do for ourselves. Thank you for spending this meaningful moment with me today. And if today's episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who could use the information. I've created a free companion resource called the Energy Check-In Journal. This simple guide will help you become more aware of the energy you're carrying, what's draining it, what's nourishing it, and how to reconnect with yourself throughout the day. Feel free to download a copy of it using the link in the show notes. And next week, we'll continue our journey in the Invisible Influence series with Beyond What You See, understanding your personal energy field. Until then, remember, realign with your truth, recalibrate with what matters to you the most, and reconnect with yourself, because a meaningful life starts within. Enjoy your week ahead, everybody, and bye for now.